Hello and welcome to News Now. I'm your host, Taylor Inman. We're going over the week's biggest headlines for Northwest Montana. Whitefish city officials said they are navigating fairly murky waters with local U.S. Border Patrol agents as the Trump administration ramps up its immigration enforcement agenda. Federal immigration officials have operated continuously out of an office in Whitefish since 1955. Officials categorize the historic relationship between the city and Border Patrol as cooperative, but national tensions are now straining decades of interagency goodwill. Whitefish City Councilor Ben Davis said when it comes to the local Border Patrol office, he said, quote, "We really don't know what they're doing. They're not transparent about it." He said that worries him, especially after the recent detainment of Kalispell resident Becker Rengifo del Castillo. Originally from Venezuela, Rengifo del Castillo has lived in the Flathead Valley under a humanitarian parole program for nearly a year, when he was pulled over by a Whitefish police officer for a routine traffic stop in April. The officer contacted federal immigration officials during the stop, and a Border Patrol agent subsequently arrived at the scene. Rengifo del Castillo was detained in federal custody for 1 week before being released without charge. He had no known criminal convictions. The Trump administration has repeatedly challenged the humanitarian status held by Rengifo del Castillo and thousands of other South and Central American immigrants. But a federal court had blocked immigration officials from executing on the administration's wishes at the time of Rengifo del Castillo's arrest. Davis said that it was likely that some unjust things happened when Rengifo del Castillo was detained, though he steered clear of blaming the officer who initiated the traffic stop. He said he believes people have the right to be concerned about it. City Councilor Rebecca Norton also expressed concern. She said that she hopes the police department steers away from interactions with Border Patrol agents in the future, except in cases that involve criminal activity. Most immigration violations are charged as civil offenses. She said after what happened with Rengifo del Castillo, the Whitefish police were informed not to do immigration enforcement when it's really not their job to do that. Norton declined to comment on who handed that directive down to city police, stating only that there was a discussion about the direction going forward that involved a review of the city charter, internal police department policies, and a case study of other cities with Border Patrol offices. It also remains unclear how binding that discussion will be on actions taken by Whitefish police officers. Per the police department's policy on immigration violations, officers should not detain any individual for any length of time for a civil violation of federal immigration laws or a related civil warrant. But Montana state law prohibits the city from enacting policies to restrict officers from participating in immigration actions in other ways. Local government employees, for example, cannot be prohibited from communicating with federal officials about an individual's immigration status for a lawful purpose. Following Rengifo del Castillo's detainment, Whitefish Police Chief Bridger Kelch stated that the department implemented a policy requiring officers to notify a supervisor before contacting immigration officials. Kelch did not respond to a request for comment on this story. The main takeaway, said City Councilor Giuseppe Caltabiano, is that immigration issues fall outside of the jurisdiction of city employees. But if federal officials make immigration issues the police department's business, Caltabiano said that officers would have to go by the book. City officials have repeatedly spurned the idea of participating in the 287G program, which allows local law enforcement agencies to enforce certain aspects of federal immigration law. The Flathead County Sheriff's Office participates in the program. City Councilor Andy Fury declined to comment on the approach he believes the city should take to immigration enforcement. He said that the city has, quote, relied on our police department to comply with both ICE laws and what Border Patrol wants. City Councilors Steve Quinnell and Frank Sweeney and Mayor John Mulfield did not respond to requests for comment. All 3 hikers that fell into Avalanche Gorge on Sunday are in stable condition, thanks in large part to the quick thinking of nearby hikers. One of the 3 victims slipped and fell into the gorge while attempting to take a photo at around 7 p.m. on July 6, according to Glacier National Park officials in a statement. 2 other people in the group fell into the gorge attempting to save the first victim. Mike Skidmore and his family, which included about 20 adults and children, were hiking the Avalanche Lake Trail at the same time. He said the family frequents the park while staying at their second home in the Flathead Valley. Skidmore had just reached the wooden bridge spanning Avalanche Creek when his brother took off running down the stream bank, who yelled that there were bodies in the river. Skidmore rushed after his brother to a downstream section of Avalanche Creek, bottled up by logs and other debris. At first, Skidmore said he thought the group would simply be offering a hand to an unlucky swimmer caught in the creek's swift current. Then his nephew yelled that he had found a body. The first of the 2 victims, a woman, had caught on one of the logs near the middle of the stream. The water rose to Skidmore's chest as he and his nephew pulled at the woman's submerged body. The pair hauled the woman to shore. Skidmore's brother, a trained radiation oncologist, attempted to find a pulse, but found nothing. Skidmore said that was pretty frightening, as they had no idea how long they had been in the water. As his brother started CPR, Skidmore and his nephew re-entered the water. They quickly found the second victim, a man who had also been trapped underwater by debris. Like the first victim, the man was unresponsive. Skidmore, unable to find a pulse, drew on the medical training he learned to become a dentist and began CPR. Skidmore was later told that both victims were pulled from the water within 4 minutes, though he admitted that the adrenaline likely skewed his perception of time. He thought that the woman began breathing on her own after about a minute of CPR. By the time park rangers arrived, some 20 minutes later by Skidmore's estimation, she was standing and talking. The man's condition was far more dire. A nasty gash on his forehead leaked blood as the Skidmore brothers and another passerby traded off doing chest compressions and rescue breathing. Skidmore believed the trio continued CPR for 3 to 4 minutes before the man started breathing on his own. After that, the man answered a question by squeezing the finger of Skidmore's brother, which they took as a positive sign. The third victim, who Skidmore believed to be a teenage boy, managed to position himself on a log above the rushing waters of the gorge. Afterwards, Skidmore learned that some of his relatives considered launching a rescue mission to retrieve the boy, but ultimately deemed it too risky. A ranger later rappelled down the slick rock walls and secured the boy before he was hoisted out of the gorge by the park's technical rescue team. All 3 victims were transported to Logan Health Medical Center in Kalispell. 2 patients were transported by ambulance while 1 was taken in an alert helicopter. Park officials credited the Skidmore brothers and other quick-thinking bystanders with saving the lives of the 2 victims that were swept into the gorge, along with 3 Rivers Ambulance, Alert, and the Whitefish Fire Department who responded to the scene. Officials urged all visitors to exercise caution when recreating in or near the park's many water features. Drowning is the top cause of death in Glacier National Park, with more than 65 deaths since 1910. 5 of those fatalities occurred in the Avalanche Gorge, including 1 each in 2023 and 2024. Skidmore also advised other park visitors against attempting similar rescue missions. He credited Sunday's successful intervention to his family's unique mixture of medical knowledge and experience with extreme backcountry sports, like canyoneering and mountaineering. A Kalispell man accused of ransacking a helicopter in June allegedly said he thought it was headed to the scrapyard. 53-year-old Daryl Zick faces felony counts of criminal mischief and attempted theft in Flathead County District Court following his June 20th arrest at the Kalispell City Airport. Zick, who remains behind bars with a bail set at $75,000, pleaded not guilty before Judge Danny Kaufman at his June 30th arraignment. Kaufman set a pretrial hearing in the case for August 8th. Kalispell police officers arrested Zick after the helicopter's captain arrived to the airport to find the rotorcraft in disarray, according to court documents. The rear hatch was jettisoned and gear was scattered on the ground. A man, later identified as Zick, sat down nearby as employees of the firm that owned the helicopter approached, according to court documents. When confronted, Zick allegedly told the crew that he thought the rotorcraft was being scrapped. When asked about the items from inside the helicopter left strewn about, Zick claimed them as his own and reinstated his belief that the chopper was destined for the scrapyard, according to court documents. Surveillance footage turned over to investigators captured Zick approaching and then climbing on top of the helicopter, according to court documents. It later shows him allegedly getting inside the rotorcraft, where he stayed for about 2 hours. The crew estimated the value of the items pulled from the chopper at more than $30,000. The captain told investigators that they found damage to the interior of the helicopter as well, including the loss of equipment necessary to fly it. Damage to the rotorcraft was estimated at more than $1,500, according to court documents. The loss to the company that owns the helicopter was likely much more, though. The captain said that the firm is contracting with the State Department of Natural Resources and Conservation to fight wildfires and is on a 30,000-day retainer. Knocking the helicopter out of commission for days posed a potential significant loss of revenue, according to court documents. Both felony charges are punishable by a 10-year stint in the Montana State Prison. Criminal mischief comes with a maximum $50,000 fine, while attempted theft carries a fine of up to $10,000. Thanks for joining us. News Now is a podcast from the Daily Interlake. We're proud to be the largest independent newsroom in Montana and the longest continuously published newspaper in the region. Today's stories were written by Daily Interlake reporter Haley Smalley and Daily Interlake news editor Derek Perkins. If you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to never miss an episode of the pod. Everybody stay safe and have a great week. Thanks to our sponsor, Lawrence Auto Repair at 1309 U.S. Highway 2 in Kalispell. Most consistently rated 5-star shop serving the Kalispell area. Visit lawrenceauto.com.